toots, like a drum roll. Where is the G-spot, and what does the G-spot do? What is it even for?
Oh my goodness. Even after all these years, and occasionally being asked this question by Dolly Doctor readers, it's still a mystery in some ways. It still actually causes quite a lot of controversy in the world of surgeons and people who study bits of body, you know, and dissect dead bodies to discover them. There's still quite a lot of controversy. So first of all, the G-spot, the G in the G-spot stands for Grafenberg. That was the last name of a German physician and scientist, and he believed that he discovered, or thought he'd discovered, this very highly erogenous zone inside the front wall of the vagina towards the sort of lower end of it. And he described it, but then the word G-spot became a thing in the 1980s. And I was still a young person then, and I remember that being a real thing, going, oh my goodness, what's a G-spot, when I was a young person. So so that's kind of where the word or the expression came from. But what actually is it? So there are certainly people with vaginas who have experienced a particular sort of smallish area inside, when there's something inside the vagina, whether it's a finger or a sex toy or a penis, they feel that there's a particular area that's highly sensitive, highly erogenous. They get very turned on, and they might even say that they orgasm. And that's certainly true for many people. But in trying to actually identify, is it an actual physical thing that you could, if you could, you know, kind of draw it, look at it, take it out, if you were able to dissect it, what would it look like inside? Is it a separate tissue? And that's where the controversy comes from. So I think in Australia, I think a great claim to fame of Australia is that there's a surgeon, a urological surgeon called Helen O'Connell, who she didn't discover the clitoris, but she was the first person who really fully mapped it out through all of her PhD work and earlier in not until 1998, she sort of published this seminal paper about what the clitoris actually looks like. It was far bigger and really a really interesting structure than what I learnt about when I was in medical school. Like, the clitoris was just this little pea-sized thing at the top of the vulva. That's pretty much what I learnt about it in medical school. But Helen O'Connell really described it in a lot of detail, and she still claims, she published a paper just about 4 years ago now, where she still doesn't believe there's an actual G-spot. She believes it's something to do with the fact that the clitoral bulb, so these areas of the clitoris that swell up during sexual arousal, and the lining of the vagina, there's something in the vaginal tissues itself, and even the urethra. In women, she feels that there is a particularly sort of sensitive area there, which she would call the G-spot area. There's another surgeon in America who's published a lot of papers, and he published one more recently, a couple of years ago, where he reviewed the research people have done. And these are people who study anatomy, you know, they're surgeons or they're scientists who actually look at bits of the body. And this surgeon from America reckons there is a G-spot and that he's been able to actually describe it. But the short answer is we don't really know if an actual spot exists, but there certainly seems to be an area that people who, you know, women themselves say that they can locate it, and others say that they can't. So, you know, the G-spot remains a part of, you know, of somewhere inside, probably the front wall of the vagina, that's particularly sensitive.
So best to say that for some people, they should probably keep looking for that map to find the G-spot. I think we talk to young people about that too, in that, you know, masturbation is one of those things that even before sexual activity can really help them to identify what their own erogenous zones might be, and then to be able to describe that or explain that to sexual partners can really help with their sexual pleasures as well. So yeah, keep on looking for the G-spot, everyone.